Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good, my dear friends. Today is 22nd January. Day is Wednesday, and the first editorial that we are going to discuss today is Return of Bonds. It's about Electoral Bonds scheme. Now, there are a few points, important points that are covered in this editorial, and there are a few points that I would like to add on. I have got one MCQ as well for you guys on this EBS, that is Electoral Bond Schemes. But before that, can I introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses, which are designed by the best faculties of our nation. They are our paid and premium courses, and with the help of our pen drive and tablet courses, there are thousands of students out there who have cracked various different competitive exams like UPSC. They have excelled in this UPSC optional courses and much more. Find out everything about it on StudyIQ.com. To download the PDF of today's lecture, do visit my FB page. You can join this Telegram channel. May I request you guys to share this lecture with other students as well? Don't forget to hit the like button, and of course do subscribe to our YouTube channel. So why we have this electoral bonds scheme in news again? This is not a new thing. A few years ago, our then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, whilst presenting the budget of our country in the Parliament, he talked about introduction of electoral bonds scheme. And since then, we saw so many different articles, views on electoral bond schemes. It's a very good move from the government side to clean this black money that is prevailing in political system, and it is also said that once you stop black money or usage of black money in politics, then automatically black money or the usage of black money will take a nosedive in other sectors as well, like let's say real estate, in purchasing gold and other things. So the reason why it is in news is because there was a plea in Supreme Court, and this plea was basically requesting Supreme Court to put a stay on EBS because there are many faults in EBS. Now, Supreme Court has declined to put a stay on EBS. Supreme Court has said that back in 2019, April 2019 to be precise, at that point of time, the CJI was Ranjan Gogoi, and CJI headed bench has declined. At that point of time as well, it said a big no on putting a stay on electoral bonds scheme. But at that point of time, Supreme Court had asked political parties to disclose to the Election Commission of India in sealed covers details of donations they had received through this EBS. Right? So this was a very important decision of Supreme Court back in April 2019. And referring to this order, Supreme Court has in recent past rejected this request to put a stay on this EBS. Now, recently, RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, as well as Election Commission of India, both these important organizations, they have voiced their reservations about this EBS. Then you have one NGO, Association for Democratic Reforms. It is generally, as far as I know, right, ADR is quite famous about facts and figures that it publishes on Indian politics and political parties and various different things, like how much black money is there, how many criminal politicians are there, and other things. So, as far as I know, right, so far what I have learned about ADR, I think it's a neutral NGO because I find articles or facts analyzed or collected by ADR in various different newspapers. Some newspapers, as you know, they support this right groups, some support left groups, some support other groups. So you find figures of ADR in various different newspapers. So basically, ADR has also said that a majority of donations made through EBS had gone to BJP, and it's not just about BJP. What we have to be careful is that, or the question that we should ask about or on EBS is that, is EBS designed in such a way that it will support the ruling party at center? At present, ruling party is BJP. In future, we may have some different party. So the structure of EBS, is it designed in such a way, or it was designed to be as neutral as possible? But the way things are it is inclined towards political or the ruling party at the center? This is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Now, recently, ECI, that is Election Commission of India, has said that the provisions that we find in EBS, they enable creation of shell companies. Now, let me throw some more light on this thing. Earlier on, there was a limit on donations that you can give to a political party, but the recent changes or this EBS, introduction of EBS, there is no limit. You can give as much as you want to give. Earlier on, there was a limit, like your average 3 years profit. You can give a chunk or a percentage of your average 3 years profit. Like, let's say if you have made 1 lakh rupees in 3 years, your business has made a profit of 1 lakh rupees, then you can give, let's say, 10%. So 10,000 was maximum that you can give. But with EBS, there is no limit. You can give your full profit, and this is not logical, right? No one, a legit business, will not give its whole profit for political funding. You could be a very big fan of BJP or Narendra Modi. You could be a very big fan of Congress or Rahul Gandhi or any other leader, but a legit business will not give its 100% profit. So it's very difficult to digest that fact. But here what happens is, because there is no limit, there are people out there, organizations out there, they are creating shell companies, fake companies. They are using these fake companies to purchase these bonds. Many times these things are also used for money laundering. So that is a matter of concern. There was a limit on foreign contribution, but now there is no limit on foreign contribution. So this will create, now when it comes to this electoral bonds, you can only Indian citizens and all those entities that are established in India, they can only purchase these electoral bonds. But now you can create shell companies, and there are various different ways through which you can channel this money that is coming from abroad into Indian politics. And this is also a big threat for Indian politics. Now, this foreign ideology, with the help of money, they can penetrate into our system. So finally, the top court has given ECI a fortnight to reply. And the thing is, there are clear new viewpoints of RBI and ECI. So let's wait and watch what ECI has to say about the recent trends in this EBS. But I think the Supreme Court should take out time and should pay some attention to this scheme called EBS. There are many flaws with it. One flaw that is not discussed here, we are going to talk about it. But before that, I would like you to pay attention to this question that you can see on your screen. You have to give the answer of this question in the comment section of this video. So it's easy to understand question, so there's no point for me to explain it, right? What you can do is download the PDF, and once you go through the PDF, do try to answer the question. Now let me take you through one scenario. Just imagine you have this on top, you have government of India, right? That's at the very, you can say, at the top of your pyramid of our country. We have government of India. Then we have State Bank of India. SBI is an official bank through which you can purchase electoral bonds. On one side you have Income Tax Department. Let me write down here, IT department. You have central government here, SBI, IT department, and then you have Mr. X, or you can take yourself. Here you are, right? Now you can only purchase this thing from SBI, EBS from SBI. So you visit one of a dedicated branch through which you can purchase this. You just suppose that you are visiting this branch. You're purchasing this electoral bonds. For that you can use your bank account. You can give a check, digital transfer. And if you are using cash, let's say, then you have to have your KYC, right? So for that you could have your Aadhaar, your PAN details, or I would say, let's make it easier, right? Let's say Jam Trinity, your Jantan Aadhaar and mobile. So your mobile phone is linked. Now government, your mobile phone, government has data like who is using which mobile number. Aadhaar, again, data is with the government. IT department, you'll be filing your IT returns and other things in IT department, so they know it. And then all these things are common things through which and basically if you are purchasing it from SBI, so they know where the money is coming from. You'll be using account of Bank of Baroda, let's say, for digital transfer. So they know this thing. So this will reflect in your statement, and this will be provided to IT department at the end of the year for your tax returns and other things. So what basically the bottom line is that there are various different ways and channels through which Government of India can know who is paying how much to which political party, because political parties as well, they have to report their electoral bonds income to Election Commission of India. So it's not a foolproof system. There is a possibility that Government of India can clearly know, and Government of India will not chase you and I. They will chase big fishes like Tatas and Adanis and Ambanis or any film star or any other organizations. If they are purchasing bonds and if they are giving it to, let's say, opposition parties, then government can create this pressure that we know that you are paying this much or you have paid this much amount to this particular political party. Next election, if you don't support us, then you may find some troubles. This is something, there is a possibility of this thing as well. It will not done officially, but unofficially this can be done by powerful players. So this is a very important thing that we need to think about. So this one is sorted. Now let's talk about same country, different script. This article is written by a very important player. He was an aide of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and he had good relationship with various different important people in Pakistan, and he's talking about his recent visit to Pakistan. So same country, different script. Lashkar-e-Taiba, LET, is now jobless, starved of funds and withered away. And here the writer had a word with a person called Imtiaz Alam. Imtiaz Alam is well-known media person. He is famous in Pakistan as well as in India. Right? Not as famous, like he's not a household name in our country. But basically he's famous in various different circles for his opinion or for working towards a path, or you can say he's basically promoting that there should be peace between India and Pakistan, right? He's also a general secretary of the South Asian Free Media Association, that is SAFMA. So Imtiaz Alam has said to the writer of this article that the Pakistani army has broken the back of this terrorist organization called LET. LET is in a very bad position at present, and that's a good news for the people of India, for the people of Pakistan, particularly those people who are looking for peace between these two nations. And I must say that I'm sure many of us are a bit skeptical about the peace. But one thing that we have to understand, is that we cannot change our neighborhood. We cannot switch Pakistan for Japan, isn't it? It means Pakistan is going to be there forever, and India is going to be there forever next to Pakistan. So at present or in past, we had various different problems. At present, we have various different issues between both these nations. But we don't want to carry forward the same thing, or we don't want to give this sort of things to our future generation. Like, I'll take back you guys to World War II. Germany, France, UK, all of them, particularly this UK and France, they were against Germany. But look at their relationship at present. There were so many countries like they were involved in World War II. European countries I'm talking about, but now they have open borders. They have, they can freely travel each other. They are not threat for each other, and this is one of the main reason. This understanding, this compromise that they have achieved is one of the main reason why Europe is one of the most prosperous region of the world. And it is also said that we can achieve the same thing, or we can achieve more prosperity in South Asia if these two big players, India and Pakistan, if we can solve our problems, then it's not going to be beneficial for just two nations, but it will help Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Nepal, Bhutan. All these nations will prosper with the development of these two countries. So we have to look at it from a big picture, right? We have to give these emotions that we have that has generated from this war and other things, but we have to emotions, we have to put them in back seat, and we have to take our logic and rationality on front seat when we talk about India and Pakistan and peace process. Now Pakistan is now ready for peace with India, and this is a very good condition. And this is something interesting as well. That's what Imtiaz Alam has said, and this is something that we need to, this is an opportunity for India as well. Now, in Pakistan, you have two centers of power. One is your elected government, and then you have a more powerful Rawalpindi, that is army. Now, Pakistan's centers of power are now on the same page. They are seeking an honorable peace with New Delhi on the basis of sovereign equality. And if this is what Pakistan is looking for, and if Pakistan can produce some positive results, then India should also grasp this opportunity. But as India has already said that talk and terrorism cannot go together. Pakistan has to prove that it has controlled terrorism, and only then India will be ready to have a word with Pakistan. Now, Dr. Abid Qayyum Suleri. Dr. Suleri is a head of a Sustainable Development Policy Institute, SDPI, and it is believed that this SDPI is one of the best think tank when it comes to peace and relationship between India and Pakistan. Then this is one of the best think tank in South Asia. And Dr. Suleri is also advisor of, is also a member of this advisory council on economic matters. He reports to Imran Khan, that is the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So he has also said that Pakistan has the best conditions now to support a fruitful dialogue with India. And in this article, there are 4 important points that we can learn about. The first one, that why we have this situation in Pakistan, why Pakistan is ready, why this both powers are ready, this Islamabad and Rawalpindi, the centers of power, why they are ready. The first thing is, across the board, there is a realization that Pakistan has already suffered quite a lot. Terrorists have killed so many kids in Pakistan. Numerous civilian casualties, as well as so many soldiers have martyred because of this terrorism. And there has been a relentless pressure from this FATF, that is Financial Action Task Force. Remember, yesterday Pakistan has urged USA to take out Pakistan from this grey list. And I must add here that India played a very important role to make sure that this FATF creates a relentless pressure on Pakistan. And these things are showing its result. So this is factor number 1. Factor number 2, Pakistanis have paid a heavy price because they allowed Islamization of state as well as society. Promotion of Wahhabism. Wahhabism is an extreme form of ideology. If you get time in future, then do read about Wahhabism. Right? It's basically about what Osama bin Laden was following. It's a very, you can say, negative ideology, killing people if you have to, and all these things. And so basically, Saudi Arabia used to export this Wahhabism ideology, but nowadays Saudi Arabia is also not ready to promote Wahhabism. Saudi Arabia knows that it's a very dangerous thing to play with this poisonous snake called Wahhabism, and Pakistan has also realized this thing, that importing this Wahhabism is not going to be helpful for the society and for the country. And then you have some good leaders, like leaders of UAE. They are pursuing this inter-religious tolerance. On your screen, you have a very good leader, Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He has permitted the construction of Hindu temple in Dubai, right? The Swaminarayan temple in Dubai. It's a very big temple that is under construction, and Mr. Modi visited that temple. And the reason why I'm highlighting this Hindu temple here is that earlier on, this region, this Gulf region, was famous, or I would say infamous, for promoting only one religion, that is Islam. You might have heard about so many things, like during this Ramadan, you cannot even drink water, or even if you are following different religion, you cannot drink water or eat in front of the people of Dubai and people of this Arab world. and apart from Islam, no other religion was allowed and things. But now things are changing, I would say incrementally, but things are heading in a very good direction. So these leaders, they have realized that secularism is the way forward and is the future. So these are the leaders who are, like, I would say, they are the torchlight, and they are the ones who are torch bearers of this change. Third factor is China. China is also a bit skeptical. China is also not happy about. China has invested huge amount of money, roughly around $50 billion, for this China-Pakistan economic corridor that connects this Xinjiang province with Gwadar port. And all these troubles, Islamist group in Pakistan is a big trouble for China. The things that are going on in Pakistan, and this group can influence things in this Xinjiang province, and it can create troubles for China. So China has also urged Pakistan to take firm steps on this sort of elites and other groups. And Beijing is also engaging with India to improve relationship with Pakistan. And the fourth factor, and this is one of the most interesting factor, because it is about Kartarpur Sahib corridor, but the most important thing is that this Kartarpur Sahib corridor and opening of this corridor, the most important role was played by the army chief, that is General Bajwa, right? So General Bajwa played a very important, he took personal interest as well as it was his personal commitment that is reflected in this project. So it's a very good sign. So these are the four factors, and if these four factors are, if we can find these four factors, if they are brewing, then this is the right time that India should also take a stand, and India should try to improve relationship with Pakistan. We can also see in future, or the base of this, three nation cooperation. And if these three countries, see, all of us are neighbors. Of course, we know that Pakistan and China are all weather friends, and India is a very powerful country too. So if all these three countries, if we can reach to a compromise, right, if we can solve our problems peacefully, then we can create, remember, the same situation that we find in Europe. So for prosperity, for peace and stability of Asia and South Asia, and for the people of these nations, it is important that we cooperate. So it's important article. So we have done with these two articles. We are not going to talk about this shaky perch. It's about BJP. This one is about Mayawati and her politics. This one again not important. Again, right to protest in a free society. We are going to talk about this one. It's about constitution. Very important, interesting article. And then we have this article on KPs. KPs means Kashmiri Pundits. So let's start up a discussion on this. 30 years on, still no spring for the Pundits. We have talked about Kashmiri Pundits yesterday. Remember, it was in news. The statement coming from Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, and there was one article as well on it. So the promise and possibility of a dignified return of the Kashmiri Pundits to the valley and things associated with it are in news. And it is also said that this Kashmiri Pundits, right, means, of course, we know the history, what happened with them. But now people are talking about this. Yesterday we were talking about this hashtag, Hum Wapas Aayenge. Kashmiri Pundits as well, they want to return back to their core or their main homeland, that is this valley. Now, returning home is also about reclaiming an intellectual space. It's not just about a physical, I would say, return. It's also about that mindset that will return with Kashmiri Pundits. The Kashmiri Pundits have struggled, and the beautiful thing about this community is that they have succeeded. After this struggle, most of them, they have succeeded. They have overcome this adversity, and we find them as model of material success in different parts of the world, whether it is Australia or Sydney to Silicon Valley. We find successful Kashmiri Pundits, well-educated people, their children well-educated, peace-loving people, and there are many good qualities about them, no doubt. Now, successive governments, they have failed, and for a very long, nearly 30 years, it's been nearly 30 years, and since 30 years, if Kashmiri Pundits were not able to return back to their home, then we can say there are two things. The first thing is failure of successive governments in Jammu and Kashmir, and the second is stark short-sightedness of Indian state or central government. Now, back in 2015, the writer of this article has said that there was a meeting between Mufti Muhammad Saeed, who was Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir at that point of time. He had a meeting with representatives of KPs, RSS, and other important players. And at that point of time, he said that you do not need us. Like he said to Kashmiri Pandits that at present you don't need us. You are doing very well, right? But we need you. We need you because, or the Kashmir needs you because you represent this diversity. And without you, this valley is, the culture of valley is, or the full circle will not get, it will not complete without you. But after the passing away of Mufti Muhammad Saeed, this thought and his legacy and all these things have gone away. Now, most Pandits who left Jammu and Kashmir have flourished materially, as I told you, from Sydney to Silicon Valley, but there are many who are not living in very good condition. A little over 600 families, they continued to stay there, but things were quite difficult for them. So there are two viewpoints now. The first viewpoint is, or one viewpoint, I wouldn't say first, but one is that Kashmiri Pandits, their viewpoint is that there was a systematic ethnic cleansing, and this was done by Kashmiri Muslims. And Kashmiri Muslims, their viewpoint is that Kashmiri Pandits left this state or valley, and it was a conspiracy with Indian state so that it can bring a bad name for Muslims, and it can give, a free hand. This deliberate conspiracy or this leaving or departure of Kashmiri Pandits gave a free hand to Government of India or security forces. So as you can understand, these two are very, you can say, contrary as well as very, you can say, extreme viewpoints. So what we need is we need to find a bridge between both these viewpoints, and if we create a secure environment, a political engagement, and if we guarantee this Kashmiri Pandits as well as Muslims that things are going to be all right, and if practical results, if practical results are visible, then this can change the way things are going on. And remember, if people to people contact, once you have this Kashmiri Pandits and Kashmiri Muslims, if they understand each other, and if things are sorted out, if the cracks are cemented between these two players or these two communities, then things will become much more easier to bring peace and prosperity back to this wonderful state of our country, Jammu and Kashmir. Now let's talk about the right to protest in a free society. Very interesting article. One must be grateful to the courts for having reiterated that right to protest is a fundamental right. Courts have many times reiterated that to protest is a fundamental right, but protest should be peaceful, of course. Now, if you don't find this word protest in our constitution, but then as well it is a very important way of expressing our speech, or it is about our free expression, right? We have two different interpretation, you can say, when it comes to free speech or of free speech and expression. The first one is that freedom of going to a movie, freedom of criticizing a movie, freedom of talking about the condition of the city in which you are living. So this can be your personal viewpoints, but at the same time, the second thing is about your political right to participate in election. Let's say when you participate in an election, you are basically expressing your opinion by electing a person, or by voting a particular ideology or a person or a leader, etc. The right to associate means like you can have a self-regulating clubs, you can have professional associations or societies. At the same time, you can create political parties too. The right of peaceful assembly means you can have a right, you can visit a place as a picnic or a joy. You can visit a park, you can visit or join this Kumbh Mela or any other religious festival. So this is a right of peaceful assembly that we find in our constitution. And the right of free speech and expression transforms into the right to freely express opinion on the conduct of the government. So on one side, there are things that are associated with our personal choices and personal life. On the other side, this free speech and expression also means that you can talk about government. If government has done something right, then you can talk about it, you can appreciate the thing. If government has done something that is not acceptable to you, then you can also protest about it. And this is one of the most important thing that we have to understand. That let's say in an election you have like 100 votes, and out of this 100 votes, 51 are given to one party, and the rest of the 49 are distributed between various different parties. So we have to understand, of course, the majority is going to rule the nation or that particular state, but at the same time we have to understand that 49% of our population, they have voted for opposition parties, so their viewpoint matters as well. And opposition parties, right, they are not our enemies. When I'm not talking about any particular party, I'm talking about the system, that we give freedom to our opposition parties. They can protest, or they can raise up issues and things, because they play a very important role. They are like they play as a shadow government, or you can say they play a very important they present the viewpoint of the dissent view of the people of our country. So this is also a part of our system. There are a few things that are not written in our constitution. There are so many things that are not written in our constitution, but as we live on with our constitution, as the nation lives, from our experiences, we have interpreted and we have understood many things. Like the first one, we'll talk about 2 points here. The first one is that these rights are exercised largely by people for private purpose, free from government interference, in a classically liberal, non-political public space. The private things that we have talked about, watching movies and etc. And the second thing is, its exercise rights are strongly associational, exercised to influence or gain power, and are therefore fundamentally political rights. Like you can take part in voting, you can talk about government if you are not happy about something and things like that. And there are so many things that are, as I was talking about, that we don't find it in our constitution. Like, say for example, the whole nature of when it comes to protest, expression and other things, we have derived or learned this thing from this struggle of our country against this colonial power. At that point of time as well, there were people and organizations, they took part in protest, and they have gone through all those sufferings, and they have learned from those experiences. And from those experiences, we have crafted our institution, like ideology of B.R. Ambedkar, Bhagat Singh, Mahatma Gandhi. They are not clearly written there, but most important things what they were talking about are part of our articles and our constitution. So none of this are literally found in articles of the constitution, but are presupposed by it. They are there. And as individuals, we also act as a watchdog. Just imagine, when you go out for a movie, that itself, when you go out in a park, when you are looking after your environment, when you are looking after your citizens, practicing tolerance or acceptability of various different religions, you are not coming out on a street, against. Or it's not always that when you protest, only at that point of time you are expressing your opinion. Your day-to-day action as well are expression of your opinion, that you are following our constitution. I hope you got the message here, what I'm trying to tell here. Let me put it in another way. Like, let's talk about religion, right? So it will be a bit easier for us to understand. You have a temple on one side, and then you have a mosque and church on the other end of a street. And if you're a person who visits a temple or a mosque or a church, so when you're passing from a church, temple or mosque, right, and if you're peacefully passing from it, and if you're accepting and tolerating, I won't use the word tolerate, I would rather use the word accept. Like, this is the diversity of our country. So when you accept this thing, then directly as well as indirectly, you are supporting the constitution, the secular nature of our country as well as constitution. So this is what we do on our regular basis. When we, like, at present we are discussing news items and views items. At present we are talking about the constitution and other things. So directly, indirectly, I'm speaking, you are listening, then you'll speak, I would be listening. So all these things are, again, our support for our constitution. And we have to remember that dissent voice plays a very important role. Like Poti Sri Ramulu, we have this Chipko moment. So all these important movements after independence played a very important role, and dissent view, or this view that is against the government, is also a very important view. So I hope things are clear to you guys. Now let's move on to news items. Questions on parents in NPR form may be dropped has been shared by Mr. Paswan, who's our union minister, Ramvilas Paswan. Then respondents can fill in census data online. We can have online self-enumeration in future on this census that is going to take place on 2021. It's unclear how coronavirus is transmitted. Scientists are not aware about it. It is, it's spreading in East Asia particularly, and coronavirus viruses are a large family of viruses that can cause illness ranging from common cold to MERS. Then India, that is the co-builder of Hawaii telescope, that is this 30-meter telescope, wants it to, it has proposed that the site should be shifted. India, Brazil, we were talking about it yesterday. It's in news again today. Supreme Court to hear this as Section 144 of CRPC. Trump impeachment trial begins. Iran lawmakers offer $3 million to anyone who kills Trump. And Trump calls climate activists prophets of doom at Davos, that is in Switzerland, World Economic Forum meeting. A few students were inquiring about e-paper, from where they can download the paper. So this is the website here. You have to pay for it, subscribe it, right? If you want, you can get various different subscriptions. Just visit epaper.thehindu.com. And a few students of this Hindi version of this analysis, they have requested for vocabulary. So what I have suggested to them, and I would suggest the same thing to you, if you want to increase your grip on vocabulary, then what you can do is, guys, when you go through newspapers or any other things, any other reading material, if you come across any words, then you can post that words. What you can do is you can put let's say hashtag and write vocab in the comment section. I'm talking about the comment section. So you can put your 2 or 3 words, and if you know the meaning, you can explain it, and you can leave it as a quiz as well for other students if they can help you. So we can create this. If you want a platform, then use the comment section of this platform as a vocabulary learning platform. You can share your words and meanings, and by doing this, you will increase your vocabulary. Rather than me giving you 5 words, just imagine so many students can contribute, and you can learn so many words every day. So I highly recommend you guys to do this thing. And that's everything from my side today. I'll see you with the daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.